Today I'd like to take us out on a journey, but this journey we're going to go step by step, and let's see where this journey takes us. The first path that I want to bring all of us to is a path that I would like to call it a childhood path. Now I want all of you guys in this room to close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine that outfit that you would choose when you were first allowed to choose any type of outfit. Keep that in mind, and I'll open your eyes. I'm pretty sure that we have various of flashbacks. Some of you may have flashbacks of your favorite t-shirt of your favorite cartoon character, while some of you may think about your favorite colors. But mine's looked a little bit like this. Yes, I was very good with contrasting colors. Pink and purple, way to go, Grace, right? Second picture looked like this. Doesn't that look like me? I swore by this outfit. No matter how cold the weather was, I would beg my mom to wear this outfit, even in the snow. And lastly, this one. I remember that this outfit was the outfit that I tried to choose during picture day in my elementary school. This picture contained my favorite colors, which is obviously hot pink. But I wish that I kept that whole colorful self of mine growing up. Because actually, the whole time I was growing up, it never looked something like that. Now you know a little bit about me, and you know that I'm a very colorful person. But you know, in this path, as I got older and as I kept on walking, I realized one thing. I realized that once I walked in this path, I started letting go of my parents' hands. And once I started letting go of my parents' hands, I stepped out of my comfort zone. Once you step out of your comfort zone, it means that you engage to society much more, and you start to listen and see new things and whatever is around you. And once I started listening to people and perceiving many other things, this is what it turned me into. Don't worry, I don't have stage frights anymore, although I looked very hectic in this picture. But actually, this was one of my very first MC events, and although for those who don't know what MCs are, they're basically moderators at events, and it's basically that one person where all eyes are going to be on you. Although I enjoyed the whole attention that I had, I looked hectic and I also looked frantic. I was very afraid on how people would perceive my big legs and how they would think about my frizzy hair or the makeup that I just learned to put on after a couple of YouTube videos that night. Actually, in this picture, I shouldn't be looking so worried because I did all the hacks that we told each other. I wore black to accentuate my waist. I wore heels to give myself a little lift. And I also wore what we call a swing skirt in order for you not to see my thighs rubbing each other. But imagine that. A girl who grew up loving colors, loving anything that contained mermaids and unicorns and rainbows, who was so confident in all of those colors, no matter what age or what size she was as a kid, is now telling you that she should be confident in wearing black. In this path, believe it or not, it was something that was really strange because although contradicting, I learned one very important lesson. I learned to love myself. Loving myself enough to be true to my feelings. Loving myself in order to do what I wanted to do at that time. And growing up walking in that path, that very first path of mine of a childhood, all I wanted was to be perceived as mediocre. I never wanted to be seen as someone that was standing out, someone that was weird. But I guess that I succeeded on that. So it led me to my second path. Once I started being accepted for a while, I kept on walking, and it led me to one of my very favorite paths, which is called the path of love. I'm pretty sure that a lot of us in this room have already had their first true love. It doesn't have to be your first boyfriend or girlfriend, but it's just that one person you see and you just know that they give you butterflies, as cliche as that sound. But for my first true love, it was the very first time that someone could mean so much to you in so little time. It was the first time that I let down my guards and laughed at the most silliest nonsense joke ever, and then I end up snorting. And then I snort again and again and again. It's the first time that you know that the person who you're with is giving you that irreplaceable young love, because that person is giving you full of discoveries, but also innocence at the same time. It's that person that, although you knew you were young, you never questioned or doubt if you were ever in love. But as I walked in this second path of mine, I realized that the path is not straight anymore. But it's so odd because this path had many other paths along the way, but I never really understood what those paths, what they were for. But I just kept on walking. But I knew one thing was that my path wasn't consistent anymore, nor was the person that I was walking with. That person who became the first of my everything became second, thirds, and then he became last. Then it was the very first time that I questioned that if this irreplaceable young love was ever real. In this path, people told me along the way that I should just let go of him. You know, you're in this toxic relationship and you're just hurting yourself. But believe it or not, in this path, I learned one very important lesson. That is to love myself. Love myself enough to be true to my genuine feelings at that time. Because all I ever wanted in the second path was to walk with someone that I wanted to walk at the end of my journey. I wanted to walk with this one person and never let him go, although our paths had to be something that was separated. I would always tell people around me that I wanted to keep on walking because I'm this happy girl. I told myself at that time, I remember that in tears, I told myself that I was this happy girl that would still take selfies and pictures of every single meal she ate, but then deleting them one by one, because that's when she actually realized that he's probably having a face-to-face meal with someone else. But I still told myself that I was that happy girl. I was that same old girl, no matter how long time passed, and I was the same old person that would send the same old texts. This used to be a reciprocal statement, meaning that I would send it to him and he would send it to me back. But as I said, nothing is ever consistent, not even the person, words, or feelings. After I saw this message, I finally understood what shattered means. And because of this message, I knew that I was done. For some of you, it may sound that I'm over-exaggerating, but believe it or not, us people, we do have our tolerance, and I guess that was the end of my tolerance. But in the second path, I learned that I loved myself, as I've told you, and that was probably enough. To be honest, bringing this story up was really hard because it's something that is very nostalgic to me, something that was in the past, and a lot of you might see it as a mistake, as a teenage mistake that everybody makes. But it's really hard for me to share to the rest of the world on how I walked my journey and what I walked myself into. And it's going to be pretty hard for some of you to understand what I'm trying to convey by two paths. So today I have a very special guest who is going to recap all of these two paths, and we're going to move on to the third path, which is a path that I'd like to call the path of realization. This is Gloy Hom. Gloy Hom is 19 years old, and she grew up in America. She's been to over 10 countries. She and I used to be travel buddies growing up, and people would always tell us that we're very cute, and we look kind of similar. We have big brown eyes, and we have love for the color red. Growing up in this third path, she and I, we were seen as buddies, and she was the solution to every single problem of mine. Every time that I cried or had the worst nightmares, she was the one that was handed to me every single time. But as I walked along the way, and when we both got a little bit older, we kept on listening and seeing the things that we see in our journeys. Weird enough, she was then seen as this burden to traveling. She was then seen as this filthy old doll that smelled like Grace's drool. But people along the way told me to just throw her away. You're a young lady. You shouldn't be holding a doll. You should be caring about fashion and makeup. It's about time for you to do your own makeup. But I guess that was never me. But because I loved myself, as I've told you, I followed what I told myself inside, what I really wanted. And at that time, I was eager to be seen as a young woman. So I guess I did no different. Later that night, I ripped Gloihom into 2 pieces. And I guess that she's no different from all of the wardrobes and all of the cute outfits that I wore. She found her value. But it was the value only in here. The donation box. That exact same night, I questioned to myself. I questioned to myself that, wow, why am I crying? Aren't I doing the things that I told myself that I wanted to do? Wasn't I that person who kept on walking and believing in myself? That's when I realized that the people who tells you to throw away things or you don't belong here, you don't fit with that, those people are temporary, because the people who told me didn't join me with all of the 3 paths that I walked myself into. And if I had to please every single individual in each and every path that I walked myself into, how much more did I have to throw away? Because growing up, all I could remember was buying things and then throwing them away, buying things and throwing them away, and finding their value in there. I guess that night, something inside of me just told myself that, Grace, you are the most craziest girl ever. She means so much to you, and how could you do something like that? And I guess it was Mom to the rescue, because later that night I told my mom, Mom, Gloihom needs stitches. You need to take her to the hospital anywhere, please. I'm begging you. I need her back in my life. And my mom got her stitches, and guess what? She's the best friend who's here with me in TED Talk. Actually, the stitches that I see on Gloihom, it's always going to be with me. And hopefully that it illustrates that these stitches are always going to be with us. Because these stitches are like the scars at our hearts, scars of unwise decisions that all of us make in our own journeys, in our own invisible maze. See, no matter how confident one may be or one may feel, the reason why I picked up this topic to choose is because a lot of people perceive me as someone that is so confident, someone that her life is filled with roses and petals, and everything that's beautiful is laid in front of her. But believe it or not, I'm just human. I'm just this one person who keeps on struggling and don't even know what's in front of her, but she keeps on doing on what she loves. But don't forget that every path, no matter how beautiful a rose is, every rose has its thorns. But those thorns are something that we all overlook. But these scars, no matter what age or race or experience that we all have, they're always going to be with us. We have at least that one scar of ours, whether if it's from our clumsiness, from our childhood memories, from memories of families or friends. We're going to look at that scar and we're going to laugh at it. And we're just going to be like, oh my gosh, why was I so clumsy at that moment? Why did I do something like that? And we're going to smile and laugh, and we're going to have thousands of stories to tell each other. Hey, look, see, this is something that I did in the past, and I was so dumb for that. That's because life throws you in the most hardest situation. They throw you in this invisible maze, assuming that you'd probably make it. But like I told you, that nothing is ever easy and nothing is ever consistent. But in this maze, it's not easy, but it's not hard. Because it's either you go the right way, you see rainbows and unicorns, or you go the wrong way, and then you fall, and then you tumble. You hurt yourself, you cry, but at the end you get back up again. Whenever I see the stitches of Gloihom or every scar that I have on my body, the only thing I feel that is, it's weird, but I feel thankful. I feel thankful for even the smallest cuts on my bodies or the biggest scars that I have, which is on Gloihom. If I were to play 20-question games, which is a very popular game, and the most popular question is, what would you do if you could rewind back time and change anything? My answer would probably be, I wouldn't change anything. I would still be that young girl that would throw her wardrobe and throw her outfits piece by piece, throwing them in the donation box, replacing them with these black clothes, in order to know that my love for colors is real. I would still lie to myself that this person that I'm with, I'm gonna force myself and I'm just gonna love him. I'm so happy, even if I'm in tears, in order for me to know what true love really is, and for me to know the genuine meaning of happiness. I would still rip Gloihom into 2 pieces, in order for me to know that no matter how expensive a toy or a doll that my parents buy me, no matter how popular a person walks into my life, they will never replace Gloihom, because she was with me each and every night of mine and each and every nightmare and worst moments of my life. See, every time that you see these scars, what I want you to do is smile. Smile at whatever had happened in your life, because although it gave you so much pain at that time, whether from relationships or from clumsiness, as I've told you, just be thankful for it, because at the least, the very least, what it taught you is how for you to avoid pain, is how for you to walk in this invisible maze that nobody ever knows what's going to be in front of you. Not even me, who's kind of trying to preach you right now. I don't know what's going to be in front of me, and I don't know what's going to be in front of you. But I know now that no matter what happens, I choose to love myself. I choose to be true to myself. And hopefully, I'll walk in this invisible maze happily. And now it's your turn to walk in it. Thank you very much.